Probably the most formative thing that I had to overcome was when I was 19. My big brother was murdered by terrorists in the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland. And when that happened, I was a kid. I was 19. I was a carefree college kid, and I really was pissed off that my life, my really good, to be honest, easy life, was ruined by an act of war. Someone attacking my brother because he was an American. So what I had to get over was the feeling sorry for myself.
Every little kid is taught that they shouldn't talk to strangers. I mean, do you talk to strangers? How do you know if a stranger is worth speaking to? Hey kid, don't talk to strangers. Where's my daughter at? I'm gonna go get my daughter in here in a minute and tell her she's 3 weeks old, but she needs to know this.
Weeks later, I remember I was at a protest at the White House, and what that was about me personally, underneath it all, which I don't talk a lot about, getting over myself and being part of something more important than the narcissistic 19-year-old, and saying, I gotta fight for something because this is what I'm called to do right now at this moment.
You light it up, you fired up, keep on keeping on.
I see the role of protesting as a way not only of expressing what personally is driving you crazy, but it's also a way that we come together and find our common goals. And you can't get anything done, I find, until you start there. And if you think that, oh, let's jump to the solution. No, you have to go through the process of standing up and coming together and believing in something and expressing that before you can actually jump to the solution. Freedom to me is the fundamental human experience. It's what distinguishes what it means to be human, is to experience freedom. And once you repress that or take that away, you actually take away one's humanity.
Do you consider yourself free?
I pause because I know I experience freedom. I'm not sure that necessarily translates to me being free. That ideal that we set up, based on the fundamental idea of human freedom, how do we take that and make that part of a broader human experience, not just here geographically? So I think to be an American is to experience freedom and export that idea spiritually around. Politics is a knowledge and an understanding of what is best for all of us. It's not us versus them. It's not right versus wrong. It's an understanding of what would be the best for society to work better together. We're innately competitive. We're genetically competitive. We are even genetically or evolutionary, from an evolutionary perspective, tribal. And it's a little bit of the tribal thing, which is not unique to humans. So I think that the us versus them is always going to exist to a certain extent. What we can do, and what I hope to do personally and professionally, is to actually refine the meaning of us versus them.
We have the extreme left, we have the extreme right. Everybody hiding behind the cloak of equality, but nobody's fighting for each other.
Truth is what you believe in. Feelings are what move you emotionally and spiritually. Opinions are how you intellectualize and articulate the combination of your feelings and your perception of truth. And fact, which used to mean one thing, and still means it to me, is an objective way of expressing common understanding and common belief.
You're saying it's a falsehood, and they're giving, Sean Spicer, our press secretary, gave
alternative facts to that. But the point remains.
Wait a minute. Alternative facts? Alternative facts, 4 of the 5 facts he uttered. The one thing he got right was Zeke Miller. 4 of the 5 facts he uttered were just not true. Look, alternative facts are not facts. They're falsehoods.
The corruption of truth, the corruption of facts, has always been one of the mechanisms of power. Whether it's religion or authoritarianism, but the corruption of facts to create subjective truths rather than objective truths is a mechanism that we are currently experiencing in our day and age. And by the way, we have always been experiencing it. It gets heightened and manipulated more when there is a real threat of authoritarianism and fascism. And that is what's happening today and now.
Together, we will make America strong again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
He's referring to a time when white men had it really good. And that to me is not a dog whistle. That's a bright megaphone saying we should go back to a time when white men had all the power and controlled things.
And because of all the anti-white rhetoric and because of the lack of representation, that is why American identitarianism will succeed in this country and why we will be back. We will be back.
Build that wall. 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 Build that wall.
The rise in nationalism, the rise in the threat of authoritarianism, the rise in the threat of fascism is based on that idea, that last gasp, and that is very scary.
But a simple phone call placed to the biggest newspapers or television networks gets them wall-to-wall coverage with virtually no fact-checking whatsoever. Here is why this is relevant to you. If they can fight somebody like me, who has unlimited resources to fight back, just look at what they can do to you, your jobs, your security, your education, your health care, the violation of religious liberty, the theft of your Second Amendment, the loss of your factories, your homes, and much more. Look at what they've done to you with your jobs.
As president-elect, Donald Trump visited Carrier's Indiana factory, touting a deal he personally helped broker, $7 million in tax breaks to keep the plant from moving to Mexico, saving over 1,000 jobs. Since then, Carrier has nonetheless laid off over 500 workers.
So what he's done is by saying, we're going to make it great for you, the individual, because it's not great for you right now because of the other, because of immigrants, because of women, because of people of color, because of the LGBTQ community. They are the ones that are ruining everything for you. And that is how you galvanize people in an attempt to establish authoritarianism.
Born when there was a choice, always will be sheltered, right to say what you want to say, right to do what you want to do. Only a mere child, no choice in who your parents are, but a father doesn't always consider now that you will be left to face people and a planet that he has disgraced. Seriously, what was she thinking? Tweeting like a bird from your little nest? But look at you as you add filters to all that you do. Fire me? For what? It's just a joke. I'll go broke. Gotta put my armor on for all them jabs and jeers. Some folks want me gone, that's why they cheer. Oh, what a fine little mess, you two little birds in your tweet nest. The peanut and birdie, left and right, fight, fight, fight. Keyboard warriors crying freedom of speech. It was a dumb joke compared to unapologetic hate, mongering, racism, sexism, active encouragement of violence and hate. Contemplate, quick to listen, slow to tweet. The world sees and hears all, no need to debate that there's hate. the left, the right, people living in bubbles. No one around you finds this a struggle to agree with someone who looks like you and thinks what you do too. Fear of different, no one listens. Will there ever be a time when we try to understand the life of another, the experiences of a different human? We sit back and criticize the other side for name-calling and bullying while you simultaneously defend your rights to do the same thing. Ever notice how the ways of the wise generally refrain from telling lies? What we are spoon-fed, looking at our phones in bed? Have we been told anything true? Anything that's been said? The truth is that we have 2 ears and just 1 mouth. Quick to listen, slow to speak. Quick to judge, and we continue to go south. Sincerely, the middleman.
"45% of Americans don't vote." There are an unbelievable number of ways that the powers that be restrict and prevent and try to prevent you from voting. Even here in New York, we have the 4th worst state in the country with respect to voter access, even though we're supposedly a very blue democratic state. We're not. We don't have early voting. We don't allow same-day registration. We restrict and keep people out of the process. People have to vote because it is what it means to be a part of something. And if we're not a part of something, if we're not in community with others, then we're not going to move forward as humanity. I think one of the challenges, not just of Democrats, but of society in general, we've created echo chambers. I don't call it social media, I call it silo media. It's actually created silos and of like-minded beliefs. And we don't go to the diner anymore and just have a discussion with our neighbor about issues that we might not agree, but we're going to talk about them because we're in community. If we as Democrats don't actually do something for small towns and rural communities, we're going to have real problems. And here's why. 70% of the Senate is going to be controlled by 30% of the population. You will have minority rule in this country. It's too late. We can't change the Constitution because you need 3/4 of the states. We'll never get it because those are the ones who will have the power going forward. So what do? You either go into existential despair, you choose armed conflict, or you figure out how to connect with people in small towns and rural communities. And you figure out what is it that we're not doing that we can do to connect to them. Because we've neglected them, and so have the Republicans. And that lack of dignity, which is what that is, if we don't address that lack of dignity, then that's what's going to cause people to get hooked on opioids. It causes them to say, you know what, the hell with it. What have I got to lose? I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. I'm going to follow a white nationalist because I got nothing else going for me. So maybe that's something. And that idea is exactly what, when I'm running for office, what I think about, what I want to change is I think we can return the dignity of work to people. And if we do that, we can make it a lot easier to address a lot of the other issues we have. We have a lot of underemployed people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. We have a lot of people who are aging that we'd like to keep in their homes rather than having them go to nursing homes, which is expensive and depressing. What about training these people in their 40s and 50s and 60s? I call it the home health corps. And we give them a decent job and a decent wage, and we train them how to go help care for these people. And it's meaningful work, because they gotta show up or Betty's gonna be really upset if you don't show up and help Betty out, right? Betty wants to, Barney's gonna show, I love when Barney shows up. By the way, I won't use all Flintstone names, but I know Barney's gonna show up. I have faith in people, and I didn't expect that. I've learned, even as I started to run for Congress, I've learned that people can be pretty harsh, but I also have learned that people can be amazing. And I've been inspired and energized and learned a ton from interacting with people all over the district, all over the country, and from all different walks of life. Community is the fundamental human condition. We are in community. We are designed that way. We are meant to be that way. Even if you think of the monastic life is often in community. So if we don't have that connectedness to others, then we will have a tougher time establishing our self-worth, because it's only by what you do and how you work with others and what you do for others that you can establish within yourself your own meaning. And so that's why if we continue this process of hyperpolarization and siloing within social media and disconnectedness, we won't be able to come together as a nation. So that's why being free isn't a thing that happens at the end or based as a result of the process. The experience of freedom is more how I would describe it, and that's an ongoing, iterative process.